Thank you. Are there any constituency statements by members? I call the member for Gippsland.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And enjoying this debate, the first point I would like to make is that we really, as members of this place, don't need to be told by the Greens or the member from Melbourne in particular when we should consult with our electorates on issue and what issues we actually need to raise with local people. I think it's something that as members of this place we do on an ongoing basis. Me personally, I often distribute surveys in my electorate. I attend many functions, have street corner meetings like a lot of other MPs, and are available to people to raise any issues of concern whatsoever. And I think really for the Greens, for their own sake, to avoid being seen as hypocritical on this issue, perhaps the Greens will submit a motion calling on all members to consult their communities on the carbon tax and then provide that feedback to the Parliament. Now, while this motion is not about whether MPs are for or against same-sex marriage, I do want to state my position from the outset. I support the recognition of legal rights within same-sex relationships, but I don't support changes to the Marriage Act. Although there is no legislation currently before the Parliament, if such a bill was presented, I believe that all political parties should grant their members a conscience vote, and it would be my intention to vote against such legislation. Now, having said that, Deputy Speaker, I hasten to emphasise a few other points. I believe it's also extremely important that we continue to work as a community to eliminate discrimination against homosexual people on the basis of their sexuality, just as it's important to eliminate discrimination against other minority groups in our communities. I think it's also critical that we support homosexual people, particularly younger people, as they often grapple with their sexuality in regional areas and are heavily overrepresented in incidents of self-harm, mental health issues and, most tragically, in taking their own lives. Finally, I would like to make the point that today's debate is not the end of the issue, and I don't believe it should be. There are many people in my community who will be bitterly disappointed with the views that I've expressed, and there are others who will see this as a cause for celebration. It is a divisive issue in our communities, Deputy Speaker, and I believe we need to respect each other's views as we discuss the merits of same-sex marriage and other issues facing homosexual people in our communities. I think it's particularly unhelpful for people on either side of this debate to descend into name-calling and abuse. We need to have a very moderate and a very respectful discussion in our broader community. I believe it should be possible to be opposed to same-sex marriage and not be typecast as being bigoted or homophobic, as some in my community have tried to portray my position. I do reject that assertion and argue that nothing could be further from the truth. I have several gay friends and gay relatives, and I respect them as I respect people who support the traditional definition of marriage. And even amongst the gay people that I know, there is a divided view on whether same-sex marriage is actually that big an issue for them. If I can recall conversations where we've put that forward as an issue of debate amongst ourselves, and their feeling was there are other far more important issues facing homosexual couples in the community than this issue of same-sex marriage. But as I said, Deputy Speaker, there are divided opinions in the community. In terms of undertaking my own consultations in Gippsland, any person who has contacted me and asked for me to discuss this issue has been given that opportunity. I've also listened to their concerns and accepted many of the valid points that they have sought to raise with me. I've met with parents and I've met with friends of gay people and listened to their views as well. I also note the formation of an online forum, a friends group for supporters of same-sex marriage in Gippsland, which has several hundred followers and has been a constructive debate, I believe, in my community. And like other members, I have received petitions both for and against same-sex marriage, and my own recent survey distributed in newspapers throughout the electorate of Gippsland attracted 700 responses. Now, I'll stress at the outset that being a newspaper-based survey, it shouldn't be construed as some sort of scientific opinion poll, but it did receive strong feedback in the community, and 64% of respondents were opposed to same-sex marriage. Now, I don't use that to justify my position in any sense, but it's merely to indicate that, as a matter of interest in the electorate of Gippsland, that 64% of respondents to a survey preferred to keep the current system in place. And that varies very significantly to other opinion polls I've seen in other electorates around Australia. Now, I stress again that I've also received many emails and petitions on this issue, and the majority of people who have contacted me from actually within my electorate have been opposed to same-sex marriage. As I've done so to date, Deputy Speaker, I intend to continue to participate in this public debate because I believe it's an important one, and I'll participate in a very moderate and respectful manner, and I'm hopeful that the issue will not become unnecessarily divisive in the wider community. My position on this issue is not meant to be disrespectful to people who hold strong views to the contrary, and having consulted with my community, I believe that the majority of Gippslanders support a more traditional view of marriage. I thank the House for the opportunity to provide that feedback.
I thank the